Uh, Mrs. Bowman.
Susan Bowman for the record. So last week you offered an apology to Jonna Plant, Luke, you did, who you called Miss Crawford, so you got her name wrong, but what you offered as an apology was that you, quote, muddled the Pledge of Allegiance. And so I'm here today to tell you, everyone here, the whole truth of actually what did happen, which was back during your campaign, you wrote out the Pledge of Allegiance perfectly with the commas. Everything was written 100% perfectly, except for that you left out two words, under God. So that's the actual truth of what happened. Jonna called you out for it, and then you responded to Jonna by saying, how dare you question my faith? Then fast forward to the Republican Central Committee censure meeting, where I stood up and again called you out for taking out the words under God from our Pledge of Allegiance. The next day, you went back onto Facebook to say, yeah, I messed up, I have no excuses, and then you made an excuse, which was that you, quote, fat fingered it. This is all in writing, and I can provide it to anyone that wants it. So people can make of that what they will. I personally believe that under God should never be taken out of the Pledge of Allegiance. And I have experienced that in one other place. That's in the communist state of Washington, where socialists often purposefully take out under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, why do they do that? Because it makes it so much easier to control people when they don't know that their rights come from God. So the Constitution doesn't give us our rights. God gives us our rights, and the Constitution protects them. So I find it very odd that you have not answered yet why you've taken out those words, under God, from the Pledge of Allegiance. But what I would say is that what we're watching here is tyranny in action. And I've experienced it already in the communist state of Washington, and here we are in Idaho experiencing it with you, Chairman Bowman. And what you do is you regularly cut off people, you won't even listen to them on Zoom. You've cut people off on Zoom. You've actually cut their Zoom feed off. You play around, your first action, really one of your first actions as commissioner was to take Zoom away, okay? So the First Amendment, by the way, I'm just gonna read it to you to remind you that Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. There's more to it than that, but Congress shall make no law. That means you can't either abridging the freedom of speech, okay? What you're doing is abridging our freedom of speech. And you can smirk all you want, but we all know it's true, okay? And we're gonna ask you to stop. And at some point, you are going to reap what you sow.
Thank you, Mrs. Bowman.